overview of what the bipartisan infrastructure bill will provide for the state of Florida and what it will deliver. The most long-term investment in our infrastructure in the history. And the need for action in Florida and the Tampa Bay area is very clear when it comes to infrastructure. This is going to make life better for our neighbors, and it's going to create millions of good-paying jobs. First, we're going to repair our roads and bridges with a focus on climate change resilience, equity, and safety, including better pathways for cyclists and pedestrians. In Florida, there are 408 bridges and over 3,500 miles of highway in poor condition. Since 2011, commute times have increased by over 11%, and that is very costly for our neighbors as well. Based on just the formula funding alone, Florida is expected to win about $13 billion for federal highway aid apportion programs, $245 million for bridge replacement and repairs. Second, besides bridges and roads, we're going to improve healthy, sustainable transportation options for all Floridians. This means public transportation, an area in the Tampa Bay area where we are woefully lacking. Based on the funding formula alone, Florida will receive about $2.6 billion over the next 5 years. A lot of those dollars will go to HART here in Hillsborough County to help our neighbors get to work and get home, and with an eye towards putting the Offer Transportation initiative back on the ballot to lift us to where we should be. Third, we're going to build a network of electric vehicle chargers to facilitate long-distance travel and provide convenient charging options. I was at the White House just a couple of Fridays ago with President Biden, the big three U.S. automakers, the auto workers, environmental organizations, because they're all going electric. And the vehicle that I think is quite exciting is the new Ford F-150, because they call it the Lightning. And it is going to be revolutionary. Florida has the second highest number of electric vehicles on the road already. So if we're going to be ready for this transition to electric vehicles, we need to invest in that charging network. Of course, this is important for reducing pollution and cleaning our air. So Florida is set to receive about $198 million over the next 5 years just through grant funding. I think we're all aware, too, what makes living in the Tampa Bay area special is Tampa Bay and the Hillsborough River, all of our water bodies, and we have a lot of work to do to make sure that they stay clean and healthy. This new infrastructure bill will deliver clean water. Florida will expect to receive about $1.6 billion over the next 5 years. We're also going to prepare more of our infrastructure for the impacts of climate change and cyber attacks and extreme weather events. Remember, not too long ago, the city of Oldsmar came under a cyber attack, and their drinking water system was at risk. We can't do that. We have to provide our local communities with the tools to prepare for cyber attacks and extreme weather events. And finally, improving our nation's airport. I don't know how you improve Tampa International Airport any more than it is, but you have to invest to keep Tampa Airport as special as it is. And Jane, you've done a terrific job there at the airport, along with everyone at the Aviation Authority and Joe Lapano, but we're going to keep it that way. So on top of all that, we have an exciting announcement for $20 million in investments right here in Tampa. That comes on top of the monies I spoke about before. And I have to say, I share the vision of Mayor Castor for lifting up all of our neighbors, connecting our neighborhoods, investing in simply sidewalks, pedestrian pathways, better transit, really improving our way of life. I think it's clear, Jane, that Tampa has been discovered now. Over 1.5 million people live in Hillsborough County, and in order to protect our way of life, see, they're partying out on the river right behind us now as we speak, in the middle of a Thursday. we really have to work to keep it as special as it is. So I fought specifically for $5 million to rehabilitate the Cass Street Bridge right behind me here in downtown Tampa. It will better connect our neighbors with easier access to jobs and local services in this diverse heart of our hometown. We're also going to invest and modernize the existing historic Tampa streetcar route with $7.7 million to benefit the hundreds of thousands of downtown residents, workers, and visitors, reduce the carbon footprint in Tampa's transportation system, and help folks avoid parking headaches. This is a big win for Tampa neighbors who depend on this service, and a win for the environment. And I'm thrilled that this builds upon our investment about a decade ago through the Recovery Act as we were coming out of the Great Recession. And finally, to aid transit riders during hot days that are more frequent, we've won $7 million for HART to modernize and upgrade and expand their bus shelters, including new security lighting powered with clean solar energy. This will provide a safe space for HART patrons, including our older neighbors and individuals with disabilities, so they can stand and sit while waiting for their bus. And I'm really proud to help partner with Mayor Castor, the City of Tampa, HART, Hillsborough County to provide safer neighborhoods, improve the air quality, keep the Tampa community special for decades to come. So Mayor Castor, this is an exciting morning to be here to see what will be. This comes on top of our build grant, and I hope you'll talk about that, how we want to connect all of the neighborhoods to prosperity, jobs, and keeping Tampa special.
Thank you, Representative Castor. I feel almost like this is Christmas morning. We're getting all of this much needed funding for infrastructure. You know, in our vision of transforming Tampa's tomorrow, the areas that we are focusing on are transportation, housing affordability, workforce development, and the overarching sustainability and resiliency of our community. And the dollars that the funding that Representative Castor brings to us is much needed in the Tampa Bay area. So I know that the entire community owes you such a great debt of gratitude. I know that you fight hard every day for our community in Washington, D.C., and we couldn't be prouder and happier for all that you have done for us. You know, you talk about some of the infrastructure, and those are things that really our residents and the day-to-day commuters into and out of Tampa don't really focus on, but we do. Vic B-Day is here today. He runs our mobility and transportation, and we assess all of our roadways, our bridges, everything that really is in dire need of maintenance and upgrading. And so something like the millions of dollars for the Cass Street Bridge may not seem like an important issue to our community until it is, until something goes wrong with that bridge that connects West Tampa with our downtown. And so looking at all of these upgrades to be able to put more funding towards our streetcars, we just got the numbers of the individuals riding the streetcar, and it is just growing day by day. And people are using that not just as something for visitors to be able to traverse from Ybor City into downtown, but it's being used as a viable form of transportation now. And I think that that's critically important, that we provide those alternative transportation solutions to our community. Not only providing housing that will be close to where individuals are working and take the need for transportation away, but also providing the trails, the bike paths, connecting our neighborhoods in the way that we are. Talking about the build grants that we're using that for, being able to extend the Riverwalk onto the west side of the river, bringing West Tampa and downtown together. We are connecting neighborhoods all the way from Gandy Boulevard to Ybor City, connecting neighborhoods that have been split by the interstate, by different roadways. We are bringing them back together through our greenways, through our Complete Streets master plan. So we're very excited to be able to have the funding necessary to bring these projects to fruition. It's incredibly important. Bus shelters. You know, Representative Castor talked about $7 million for the upgrading of Hart bus shelters. That's not important to a lot of people, but it's critically important to people that use the bus as a form of transportation. And that's something that we need to improve. We need to improve those sources of mass transit. You know, quite often I joke about mass transit in Tampa is more than 2 people in an SUV. We have got to provide those solutions for our community. Electric cars. It's great to hear that we are leading on electric cars in the state of Florida, but we need to do more every day. We are increasing the number of electric cars in our fleets, looking at solar power. We put Whit Rimmer in as the first sustainability and resiliency officer in the history of the city of Tampa. And everything we do every single day in the city of Tampa is going to be woven through the lens of sustainability and resiliency. I personally feel that water is going to be the #1 issue in the entire world, not just our nation or our state, in the next few decades. And it's something that we have to address right now. Not only the cleanliness of our water, but also the water supply, the clean water supply that is available for our community to drink in the future. So this location we are at right here really is such a beautiful spot and reflects all of the beauty of Tampa, not only with the historic University of Tampa behind us, the Cass Street Bridge, which was built in 1927 and has had a couple of maintenance projects done, but nothing done in a long time. So it is definitely much overdue. And then to be next to the Hillsborough River, which really is a crown jewel of the Tampa Bay area. So we want to thank you again, Representative Castor, for all that you do for our community. You fight the good fight every day, and we benefit from that. And so from all of the Tampa Bay area, I say thank you.
You all may want a little detail on how this connects. I think you should.
Sure thing. Thank you, Congresswoman. Sure. Vic Bide, Vikbhide, Director of Mobility for the City of Tampa. I really want to start off by first thanking Congresswoman Castor and Mayor Castor for your national and regional leadership. Because if you just look at the Cass Street Bridge project, it's really not flashy. I mean, we're talking about bevel gears, we're talking about electrical components, but this is a critical asset. It's a gateway to downtown. It's a gateway to West Tampa. It's a connector between different neighborhoods. The mayor mentioned the build grant. The mayor mentioned connecting different neighborhoods. And also with this project and the Green Spine cycle track, in essence, we're building a network for alternative modes of transportation, lower carbon modes of transportation, and also equity. What these projects do is connect all the way from Gandy and Bayshore to Ybor and up through the river up to Columbus via Rome Avenue as part of the build grant as well. And all of these neighborhoods that are diverse, some low income, that are around all the prosperity that's going on in downtown Tampa. And these connect these levels of opportunity to these neighborhoods. A lot of these neighborhoods were historically separated by interstates. So the Green Spine cycle track, which plies Cass Street, also crosses under I-4 and goes all the way up to Cascaden Park. As part of the build grant, we're building multimodal facilities on Rome that go under 275 and connect the neighborhoods north of there. These were historically separated. these are also our most diverse neighborhoods, and these connections will really make Tampa stronger. We're happy to take any questions at this time.
Sure. Yeah, we're at a critical moment in the pandemic because of this very highly contagious Delta variant. I want to thank Mayor Castor for her leadership during the past year and a half to really help keep our neighbors safe, expand vaccination opportunities across the city of Tampa. Testing sites are now expanded. But this is a time where Tampa is known for looking out for their neighbors, and this is a time when they really have to double down on doing that. Make sure your friends and neighbors are vaccinated. That is the best answer. And I want to say thank you to the courageous Hillsborough County School Board members who yesterday listened to our local public health experts, doctors from Tampa General Hospital and the University of South Florida, and they rose above politics to make sure that our children in our schools, their families, all of our educators are healthy and safe. And I know Mayor Castor probably wants to also remind folks how important it is to get vaccinated as well. Yeah, one of the unfortunate developments during the pandemic right now is the politicization of masks, to the point where the State Board of Education and the governor, they're actually threatening local school superintendents across the state and school board members that there's going to be retribution. That's the last thing that we need at a time of a public health crisis. This is a time to come together and support our educators. It turns out as well that Florida is an outlier in holding back the federal emergency aid that was supposed to go to schools and students. Florida is one of only 5 states in the country that has not drawn down all of its resources. They're about 2 months too late. They're slow walking these dollars. So rather than threaten and bully our local school districts and educators, they should be working together to get this emergency aid to the local level to help keep our students safe, pay teachers, buy the supplies that they need to space out. There are a lot of kids that need support in this community, in this state, and they should be focused on that rather than retribution.
I have done all that I could to encourage individuals to get vaccinated. We know the vaccines work. We know the vaccines are safe. We have made them available throughout our community. And as I have said many times, the only place you can't get a vaccination is once you are in the emergency room with COVID-19. And so everyone should be doing their part. It's your responsibility, your personal responsibility to your family, but also to your community to get vaccinated. And the facts bear out that the locations that have the highest increase with this Delta variant are the very locations that have the lowest vaccination rates. The vaccinations work, and individuals should be getting vaccinated. It is not too late. Right. Yeah, I think that's better answered by Congresswoman Castor, but we have no doubt it's coming.
Yeah, I'll answer real quick. So you may have seen a couple weeks ago, the United States Senate passed a huge bipartisan infrastructure package. This was a remarkable effort, especially by President Biden. He followed through on his promise to bring Republicans and Democrats together for the betterment of our country. So now it's thrown back to the House of Representatives. We passed our infrastructure bill. Now we have to meld them. It's kind of messy to watch the sausage being made, but we are on a glide path to making these important investments for our community, and I'm confident maybe by Thanksgiving we'll know 100% for sure President Biden signs it, and then we can do some maybe we'll bike around or walk on some of these trails and show people how we're going to connect Tampa neighborhoods. See, the sausage making really isn't exciting, is it? I think we stand at a point in our great country where we really do need to build back better. For a while, I've watched infrastructure investments be put off, suffer under partisan fights, and now we're really at a point where I think in the coming months we're going to hammer this out and make incredible investments. I mean, it's important for folks to know what that means in their neighborhood, rather than just talking about it at a high altitude at 25,000 feet. What this means in Tampa is what Mayor Castor has been working on, the vision of all of the neighborhood leaders who have come together to help inform this plan for the city of Tampa. We know how important it is to connect these neighborhoods, that we really do have a special place here, but we have to work to keep it that way, and that means improving transit, protecting Tampa Bay, cleaning the water, cleaning the air, and keeping Tampa Airport the best airport in the country. It was included in the House bill, and now we're going to work to meld those two bills. Nothing is guaranteed until President Biden signs it. So. I would say this builds upon the progress that mayors and the city has made over decades, and I'm very proud that every time a visionary like Jane Castor comes through, she builds on the progress, and I see my role as helping to speed that along. And the Build grant, other grants that we've won for the Tampa Riverwalk, I think now we understand what that has meant to lifting our entire community. And now we want, I think you stated that very well, we want all of the prosperity to be shared with every neighborhood in the city of Tampa. You want to do that offline so they can go? Okay. All right. Well, I support President Biden's decision to end America's longest war after 20 years. But I also recognize the phenomenal service by our military service members, many here at MacDill Air Force Base, at Central Command and Special Operations Command, many of the diplomats, many of the civilians and NGOs who have done yeoman's work there. They completed their mission well. We have not been attacked since we went in and stormed Afghanistan and the interceding years. We brought Osama bin Laden to justice. They completed their mission. Now, I don't think anyone can say they can be happy with the situation as people depart Afghanistan, but I support President Biden's pledge that we're not going to leave until we get all Americans and other related civilians out. I'm working with people here in Tampa who have connections to various Afghan translators to make sure that they get on one of those planes and depart safely. And if anyone else out there is in contact with anyone still in Afghanistan, a translator, a civilian, anyone, they should contact my office so that we can help. Since we're getting a little off Well, I think no one can say, gosh, this is really going well. But it is very important that this America's longest war come to an end. It's been 20 years. 20 years. And thank God for the military service members and the diplomats who served us so well and completed their mission to keep us safe and to bring Osama bin Laden to justice. And during the rest of the departure of the civilians, we have a responsibility and an obligation to work with all countries in the area to make sure that people depart Afghanistan in a safe manner. And I trust that's what they'll do.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No updates on the raise. Nope. Right. We would it be premature? I've already gotten in trouble for trying to predict anything, to predict a boat parade in the future. No, we're still working on that. It is our hope that the Tampa Bay Rays remain here in the Tampa Bay area, and we would love to have them in the city of Tampa. Thank you, guys.